The stars twinkled peacefully in the night sky above Earth's major observatories. It was just another quiet evening for the astronomers working their regular shifts, until every single detection system began blaring simultaneously. At first, the scientists thought their equipment had malfunctioned. The readings were unlike anything they'd ever seen before. Massive objects appearing out of nowhere at the edge of the solar system. As data poured in from observatories worldwide, the truth became undeniable. They were watching the arrival of an alien fleet. Tom Wilson, the lead astronomer at the Global Space Monitoring Station, stared at his screens in disbelief. The objects were massive, some nearly the size of small moons. They moved with precise formation, clearly artificial in nature. His hands trembled as he reached for the red emergency phone that connected directly to military command. "This is GSMS. We have a code black situation. I repeat, code black. Multiple artificial objects have appeared beyond Neptune's orbit. This is not a drill." Within hours, the world's military forces were on high alert. Fighter jets took to the skies, missile systems were primed, and submarines emerged from their deep-sea hiding spots. The President of the United States was rushed to a secure bunker, along with other world leaders following similar security protocols. The alien fleet maintained their position at the solar system's edge for 3 days. Earth's population descended into a mix of panic and fascination. Religious leaders claimed it was the end times, while others celebrated humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization. On the 4th day, the aliens made their move. A single ship, smaller than the others, but still larger than anything humans had ever built, detached from the fleet and accelerated toward Earth. It took up position just beyond the moon's orbit. And then it happened. The first transmission. Every television, radio, computer, and phone on Earth received the same message simultaneously. The aliens spoke in perfect English, their tone commanding and imperious. "Greetings, inhabitants of Sol 3. We are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 10,000 systems. Your planet has been designated for integration into our domain. Surrender peacefully, and you will be granted basic citizen rights under imperial law. Resist, and you will be subdued by force. You have 48 hours to comply." The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session in New York. Representatives from every nation gathered to face the greatest crisis in human history. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy as military advisors presented their assessments. General Robert Hayes, commander of Earth's Combined Defense Forces, stood before the assembly. "Their technology is far beyond ours. Traditional military responses would be suicide. But," he paused, looking around the room, "we might have one advantage they don't know about." In a secure room beneath the Pentagon, Intelligence Director James Cooper reviewed the data his team had collected. The aliens' communication systems weren't as secure as they thought. Earth's quantum computers had been quietly decoding their transmissions since their arrival. "Look at this," Cooper pointed to a screen showing translated alien messages. "They think we're primitive. They have no idea what we found on Mars." The next 24 hours were crucial. While the public faced the prospect of alien domination, a select group of world leaders and military commanders gathered in a bunker deep underground. They reviewed their options, studied the intelligence reports, and made their decision. Earth would not surrender. Instead, they would send a message of their own, one that would make the Empire regret ever targeting their planet. As the 48-hour deadline approached, the alien ship maintained its position near the moon, waiting for Earth's response. They expected fear, submission, or perhaps a futile show of resistance. What they received instead would change the course of galactic history. Earth's response was brief, transmitted in the Empire's own language, using their own encrypted channels. The message caused immediate confusion among the Imperial commanders. How could these primitives access their secure frequencies? And more importantly, what did they mean by their cryptic warning? The warning was simple: you should have done your research before coming here. The last species that tried to conquer Earth learned their lesson. We suggest you leave while you still can. The Empire's response would determine whether humanity faced extinction or proved itself as a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. Little did they know, Earth's warning was backed by something far more powerful than mere words. The Imperial commanders aboard their flagship stared at Earth's message with a mixture of amusement and confusion. Admiral Blake of Earth's Space Command watched their reaction through intercepted video feeds, a slight smile playing on his lips. The aliens had no idea their supposedly secure communications were an open book to Earth's quantum systems. "They're laughing at us," one of Blake's officers reported, monitoring the translations. "Let them laugh," Blake replied, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "They won't be laughing for long." The Empire's response came swiftly. Their message boomed across all frequencies again. "Your primitive attempts at resistance are noted. However, your access to our communication channels is impressive. Perhaps we underestimated your technological capabilities. You have 24 more hours to reconsider our generous offer." Deep within the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, Dr. Mark Anderson worked frantically with his team. They were putting the finishing touches on Earth's real response, not just words this time, but proof of power. "The targeting system is ready," Dr. Anderson announced, his voice echoing through the underground chamber. "All we need now is the go-ahead." The facility housed technology that would have seemed impossible just 2 decades ago. Reverse-engineered from the Mars ruins, it represented humanity's greatest secret and their best hope for survival. Above ground, panic was spreading. Despite governments' attempts to maintain order, cities worldwide saw chaos as people prepared for what they believed would be their last days. They didn't know about the card humanity was about to play. The Imperial fleet maintained their position, their massive ships casting shadows on Neptune's surface. Their sensors swept the solar system continuously, watching for any sign of resistance. They found nothing that concerned them. No advanced weapons, no shield systems, no space fleet, just primitive satellites and a handful of small space stations. They were wrong. At exactly midnight GMT, Earth launched its demonstration. No missiles, no fighters, no visible weapons at all. Instead, a simple probe, about the size of a small car, emerged from a hidden lunar base and headed toward the Imperial fleet. The aliens tracked its approach with mild curiosity. Their scans showed no weapons, no unusual energy signatures, just a simple probe, barely worth their attention. Several junior officers laughed at this apparent display of primitive technology. Then the probe reached its designated position. Dr. Anderson pressed a sequence of buttons on his console, initiating gravitational displacement field in 3, 2, 1. The space around the probe suddenly warped. A sphere of distorted space-time expanded outward, encompassing one of the Empire's smaller scout ships. Within seconds, the scout ship began to break apart, its hull twisting and crumpling as if caught in an invisible giant's hand. The Imperial fleet's commands erupted in chaos. Their sensors couldn't explain what they were seeing. The scout ship hadn't been destroyed by any weapon they recognized. It had been torn apart by space itself. Earth transmitted another message. That was a demonstration using less than 1% of a single facility's power. We have 12 such facilities across our solar system. As we mentioned, you should have done your research. The Mars ruins weren't just abandoned technology. They were a warning to any who would threaten Earth. The Imperial command ship's response was immediate. "Explain yourselves. How did you acquire this technology?" Instead of answering, Earth sent them detailed scans of their own fleet's weaknesses, shield frequencies, hull composition, engine configurations. The message was clear. "We know exactly how to destroy you. Your ships rely on standard Imperial gravitic shielding," Earth's message continued. "We can bypass it completely. The Mars ruins gave us something far more advanced. This is your final warning. Leave our solar system, or we will be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities." In the mountain facility, Dr. Anderson watched the alien fleet's reaction through their own sensors. Their ships were powering up weapons, but he could see confusion in their movements. They had expected an easy conquest and found themselves facing an enemy who could manipulate the fabric of space itself. The next few minutes would determine everything. Would the Empire retreat and recognize Earth's sovereignty? Or would they force humanity to reveal just how much power they had inherited from the Mars ruins? The answer would change the galaxy forever. 20 years earlier, on a cold Martian morning, everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe changed forever. Dr. Jack Reed stood at the entrance of what appeared to be an ordinary Martian cave. His suit's oxygen meter showed 4 hours of breathable air remaining as he shined his light into the darkness. The routine geological survey had turned into something far more significant when his ground-penetrating radar showed impossible geometric patterns beneath the surface. "Base, this is Reed. You're not going to believe what I'm seeing," he reported, his voice shaking with excitement. The beam of his flashlight revealed smooth, metallic walls that couldn't have been natural. "This isn't a cave. It's a door." Within hours, the entire Mars research base had mobilized. As they cleared away millions of years of dust and debris, they discovered a facility that sprawled for miles beneath the Martian surface. The walls were covered in strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly when touched. "Look at this," Dr. Reed whispered, running his gloved hand along a panel. The wall suddenly lit up, holographic displays springing to life after eons of darkness. "It's still working." The discovery was kept secret from the public. World leaders agreed that panic would ensue if people learned that not only had aliens existed, but they had built a massive facility on Mars. More importantly, they needed to understand what they had found before anyone else learned of its existence. Dr. Reed led the research team that made the most crucial discovery. In a vast chamber deep within the facility, they found what appeared to be a testing range. The walls were scarred and twisted in impossible ways, bearing testament to the power of the weapons once tested there. "These aren't just weapons," Dr. Reed explained to the military officials who had rushed to Mars. "This is technology that manipulates the fundamental forces of the universe. Gravity, space-time, dark energy. They had mastered them all." The most chilling discovery came when they decoded the facility's records. The ancient civilization hadn't built this as a military base or research station. It was a last resort, a gift left behind for whoever might need to defend themselves against something worse. General Miller, watching the translated text scroll across his screen, felt a chill run down his spine. They knew someone would need this eventually. They knew the Empire would come. The records told of a galaxy-spanning civilization that had fought the Empire long ago. Rather than submit to defeat, they had scattered their most powerful technologies across thousands of worlds, hiding them where they might eventually be found by species who would need them. Earth's scientists worked tirelessly to understand the alien technology. The breakthroughs came slowly at first, simple gravitational manipulations, then space-time distortions, and finally, the ability to tear apart the fabric of reality itself. "We can't match their fleet size or their conventional weapons," Dr. Reed said during a briefing 5 years after the discovery. "But we don't need to. They're still using the same basic technology they had when these weapons were hidden. We have something they've never seen before." The construction of Earth's defense network began in secret. 12 facilities, hidden throughout the solar system, each housing weapons that could reshape space itself. The public continued their lives unaware, while beneath the surface of planets and moons, humanity prepared for a war they knew would come. Dr. Reed stood in the control room of the first facility when they tested the weapons at full power. A targeted gravitational wave reduced an asteroid to atoms in seconds. "This is why they left it for us," he said quietly. "They knew we would face the same choice they did, submit or fight." The years passed, and Earth waited. They improved the ancient designs, combined them with human innovation, and prepared for the day they knew would come. When the Imperial fleet finally appeared at the edge of their solar system, humanity was ready. Now, as the Empire faced Earth's warning, Dr. Reed's words from years ago echoed in the minds of those who knew the truth. The ancient civilization hadn't just left them weapons, they had left them hope, a chance to stand against an enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia. The true test of their inheritance was about to begin. The Imperial command ship's bridge fell silent as they processed Earth's demonstration. Admiral Lord Dex, Supreme Commander of the invasion fleet, gripped the arms of his command chair, his pride wounded by this unexpected resistance. "Launch the probe attack," he ordered, his voice cold with anger. "Let's see how well they handle multiple targets." 50 attack probes detached from the main fleet, each one equipped with enough firepower to level a small city. They accelerated toward Earth in perfect formation, their energy shields glowing against the darkness of space. In the Rocky Mountain facility, warnings blared across every screen. Dr. Anderson's fingers flew across his console, tracking the incoming threats. Multiple hostile contacts approaching. Activating Defense Protocol Alpha. Hidden bases across the solar system hummed to life. From beneath the lunar surface, from Mars' polar caps, and from bases hidden in asteroid belts, Earth's automated defense systems emerged. Thousands of small drones, each no bigger than a coffee table, swarmed out to meet the Imperial probes. "Their drones are primitive," one of Lord Dex's officers reported, watching the approaching swarm. "No significant weapons or shielding detected." Lord Dex smiled. "Destroy them all. Show these humans the price of defiance." The Imperial probes opened fire, their energy weapons cutting bright lines through space. But Earth's drones didn't try to dodge. Instead, they created small, localized distortions in spacetime, causing the energy beams to bend harmlessly away. "Impossible," the Imperial weapons officer shouted. "They're using localized gravity manipulation at that scale." The human drones struck back. They didn't fire weapons. They didn't need to. Each drone generated a microscopic black hole that existed for a fraction of a second, just long enough to tear chunks out of the Imperial probe shields and hulls. In his mountain bunker, General Hayes watched the battle through quantum-linked displays. "Send in the second wave," he ordered. "Let's show them what else we can do." Larger drones emerged from Mars orbit, these equipped with devices reverse-engineered from the ancient ruins. They created fields of distorted space around the Imperial probes, areas where the laws of physics went haywire. Metal crumpled, energy weapons backfired, and shields collapsed. Lord Dex watched in horror as his probe attack was systematically destroyed. Not a single human drone had been lost, while his probes were being torn apart by forces he couldn't even understand. "My lord," his science officer reported, voice shaking, "they're not just using gravity weapons. They're manipulating the fundamental constants of space-time itself. This technology, it shouldn't be possible." Earth transmitted another message. "That was your only warning shot. Your probes were destroyed by our automated defenses. Not a single human pilot was at risk. Consider carefully what that means about our full military capabilities." In the Pentagon's war room, military leaders watched the battle's aftermath with grim satisfaction. Decades of preparation had paid off. Their defenses had worked perfectly. "Signal from the Imperial fleet," a communications officer announced. They're requesting a temporary ceasefire to collect their dead." General Hayes leaned back in his chair. "Granted. Let them recover what's left of their probes. They need to understand exactly what they're dealing with." As Imperial recovery ships moved cautiously through the debris field of their destroyed probes, Lord Dex received a private message from Earth. It contained detailed scans of his flagship's critical systems, along with a simple note: "We can see everything you do. We know every weakness in your ships. Retreat now, or the next demonstration will be far less gentle." The Imperial Admiral stared at the message for a long moment. His entire military career, he'd never faced an enemy with technology like this. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were toying with forces that his empire's best scientists had deemed impossible to control. "My lord," his tactical officer spoke quietly, "should we prepare the main fleet for attack?" Lord Dex continued staring at the scan data of his own ship, wondering how many more surprises these humans had waiting for them. The next few minutes would determine whether his pride would force him into a catastrophic mistake, or if wisdom would prevail. The galaxy watched and waited. While the Imperial fleet regrouped, Earth's defenders prepared to reveal their ultimate weapon. Deep beneath the Valles Marineris on Mars, Dr. Reed stood before a massive device that hummed with barely contained power. "The gravity core is ready," he announced to the assembled military leaders watching through secure feeds. This is what the ancient civilization considered their masterpiece: total control over gravitational forces. The device looked deceptively simple, a sphere of dark metal suspended in a web of energy fields, but within it churned forces that could reshape reality itself. This was the true gift left behind in the Mars ruins, the pinnacle of the precursor civilization's achievements. "Begin the demonstration," General Hayes ordered from Earth. "Let's show them what they're really facing." Dr. Reed initiated the startup sequence. The sphere began to spin faster and faster until it seemed to blur between dimensions. Energy readings went off the scale as it reached full power. In space, the Imperial fleet's sensors suddenly detected a massive gravitational disturbance. Lord Dex watched in disbelief as an entire section of space began to warp and bend. "My lord," his science officer reported, panic in his voice, "they're creating a controlled gravitational lens. The power readings, they're beyond anything in Imperial records." The demonstration began. A beam of focused gravitational force reached out from Mars, invisible but devastating in its effect. It touched a small asteroid near the Imperial fleet, and in an instant, the massive rock was compressed to the size of a marble before being torn apart at the atomic level. "Impossible," Lord Dex whispered. "No civilization has ever managed to weaponize gravity at this scale." Earth transmitted their explanation. The Mars facility wasn't just a weapons cache. It was the primary research center for an ancient civilization that fought your empire long ago. They left this technology for whoever would need it next. We are their chosen successors. In the Imperial flagship's command center, chaos erupted as officers realized the full implications. These humans hadn't just stumbled upon some advanced weapons. They had inherited the legacy of the Empire's most feared ancient enemy. The predecessors. Lord Dex breathed the name with fear. His empire had spent millennia trying to recover that lost technology, and here it was, in the hands of what they had thought was a primitive species. Dr. Reed continued the demonstration. The gravity core's power reached out again, this time creating a field that completely neutralized the artificial gravity aboard several Imperial ships. Their crews floated helplessly as their artificial gravity systems were rendered useless by forces they couldn't comprehend. "We've spent 20 years mastering this technology," Earth's transmission continued. "We've improved upon the original designs. Your Empire's standard defenses are based on technology that was already obsolete when these weapons were created." General Hayes watched the Imperial fleet's reaction through their own compromised sensors. "Show them the final component," he ordered. Dr. Reed activated the gravity core's ultimate function. Around Earth, dozens of hidden satellites activated simultaneously, creating a network of gravitational distortion fields. Within seconds, they had established complete control over every gravitational force within the inner solar system. "This system can tear your fleet apart molecule by molecule," Earth's message explained. "We control the very fabric of space within our solar system. You are in our gravity well now, and we decide what gravity means here." Lord Dex received the message along with detailed scans showing exactly how the system worked. His best scientists confirmed the horrible truth. There was no defense against this technology. The Empire's most advanced shields would be useless against weapons that could control gravity itself. 20 years ago, we were primitive, Earth's final message stated. Now we are the custodians of power your empire has sought for millennia. This is your last chance to retreat. The next demonstration will not be a demonstration at all." In his command chair, Lord Dex faced the most difficult decision of his career. His empire had ruled through fear and superior technology for thousands of years. But now they faced an enemy wielding the legendary weapons of the predecessors themselves. The next move would either start or prevent a war that could reshape the galaxy. Lord Dex stood on his command bridge, pride warring with reason. Despite all evidence of Earth's superior technology, he couldn't accept defeat without a fight. His empire's reputation was at stake. All ships, battle formations, he commanded, launched the full assault. Thousands of Imperial warships moved into attack position, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. Energy weapons charged, missile bays opened, and fighter squadrons launched. It was the most powerful fleet assembled in the sector's history. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, General Hayes watched the Imperial fleets approach. "They've made their choice," he said quietly. "Activate all defense systems. Authorization code, Prometheus." Dr. Anderson's fingers flew across his console. All gravity manipulation systems online. Defense grid at full power. They're about to learn the hard way. The Imperial fleet's first wave launched their attack. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward Earth in overwhelming numbers. For a moment, it seemed like nothing could stop such a massive assault. Then Earth's gravity defense grid activated. The energy beams curved away from their targets, caught in artificial gravity wells that bent space itself. Missiles found themselves pulled into microscopic black holes that winked out of existence moments later. Not a single shot reached Earth's atmosphere. "Impossible," Lord Dex shouted. "Continue the attack. Launch everything we have." The Empire's second wave moved forward, capital ships charging their main weapons. Before they could fire, Earth's automated defense systems struck back. Gravity beams lanced out from hidden bases across the solar system, targeting the Imperial ships with surgical precision. The effects were devastating. Massive warships were crushed like empty soda cans as localized gravity fields increased 1,000-fold. Others were torn apart as different sections of their hulls experienced opposing gravitational forces. Shields designed to stop energy weapons proved useless against fundamental forces of nature turned into weapons. "My lord," the Imperial fleet's tactical officer reported, "we've lost 30% of our forces in the first minute of engagement. Our weapons are completely ineffective." From his facility on Mars, Dr. Reed activated the Gravity Core's combat protocols. The device hummed with power as it took control of space-time itself around the Imperial fleet. Entire squadrons of ships found themselves trapped in bubbles where time moved at different speeds. Some experienced hours and seconds, their crews aging rapidly, while others were frozen in moments of time, unable to move or respond. "This is humanity's final warning," Earth transmitted. "We don't want to destroy you, but we will if we must. Withdraw now." Lord Dex watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled. Ships that had conquered hundreds of worlds were being crushed, torn apart, or twisted into unrecognizable shapes by forces he couldn't even comprehend. Multiple breaches in the flagship's hull. An officer screamed. "The gravity weapons are tearing through our strongest armor like it's paper." In the Pentagon's war room, military leaders watched the battle through quantum-linked displays. They had prepared for this moment for 20 years, but the effectiveness of their weapons still surprised them. "Target their command ship," General Hayes ordered. "Let's show them what happens when they ignore our warnings." A concentrated gravity beam struck the Imperial flagship. The massive vessel's hull began to crumple as space itself twisted around it. Lord Dex watched in terror as his mighty ship was bent into impossible shapes by invisible forces. "All ships, retreat," he finally ordered, his pride broken. "Full emergency withdrawal. Get us out of this system." The surviving Imperial ships desperately turned to flee, their engines straining at maximum power. Earth's defenses let them go, leaving the debris of destroyed ships as a testament to humanity's power. "Send the final message," General Hayes commanded. As the Imperial fleet fled in disorder, they received Earth's transmission. "Remember this day. Remember what happened when you threatened Earth. We will be watching." The battle was over. In less than 15 minutes, Earth had destroyed nearly half of the Imperial fleet. The rest fled in panic, leaving behind the wreckage of what had been the Empire's greatest armada. Humanity had not just survived. They had demonstrated power that would change the galaxy forever. 1 month after the battle, the Galactic Senate convened an emergency session. The chamber was filled with representatives from thousands of worlds, all gathered to discuss one unprecedented event: the defeat of an Imperial invasion fleet by a supposedly primitive world. Lord Dex stood before the Senate, his once proud stance now humbled. "The humans possess technology beyond anything we have encountered. They control forces we barely understand. Their defense of their system was absolute." The Senate chamber erupted in murmurs. Images from the battle played on massive screens, Imperial warships being crushed, twisted, and torn apart by invisible forces. The recording showed weapons that defied the Empire's understanding of physics itself. In Earth's combined military headquarters, General Hayes watched the Senate proceedings through their quantum monitoring systems. The aliens still hadn't figured out how Earth could access their most secure communications. "They're discussing our status now," he informed the gathered world leaders. "This is what we've worked for since we found the Mars facility." The Senate's High Chancellor spoke, his voice echoing through the chamber. "This defeat is unprecedented. The Empire has ruled unchallenged for 10,000 years. Now we must recognize a new power." On the screens, images of Earth's solar system appeared. The Senate watched in silence as data scrolled past, showing the extent of humanity's defensive capabilities. Earth's gravity manipulation technology exceeds anything in known space. The Chancellor continued. "Their control over fundamental forces makes traditional military action against them impossible. We must acknowledge their sovereignty." Dr. Reed, watching from Mars, smiled as he heard the Senate's deliberations. The ancient civilization's gift had served its purpose. Humanity had proven itself worthy of the legacy they'd been given. The Senate's declaration was unanimous. Earth and its solar system were to be classified as a sovereign territory, too dangerous to attack. The Empire, for the first time in its history, was forced to acknowledge an equal. "But there's more," the Chancellor announced. "We have detected similar gravity manipulation signatures from other systems. It seems Earth is not alone in possessing this ancient technology." The revelation sent shockwaves through the Senate. Other worlds had found similar ruins, similar weapons. The predecessor's plan was finally becoming clear. They had seeded their technology across the galaxy, waiting for worthy civilizations to find it and stand against the Empire. Back on Earth, celebrations broke out as news of the Senate's declaration spread. Humanity had not just survived. They had forced the greatest power in the galaxy to back down. "We should release some of the historical data from Mars," Dr. Anderson suggested during the post-victory briefing. "Let them know this was just the beginning of what the predecessors left us." General Hayes nodded. "Agreed. Send them the files about the Galactic Transportation Network. Let them worry about what else we might have found in those ruins." The final message Earth sent to the Senate was brief but clear. "We have no interest in conquest or expansion, but we will defend ourselves, and we will assist any other civilization that finds similar ruins. The age of imperial dominance is over." In the months that followed, Earth established its first diplomatic relations with other worlds. Trade agreements were signed, cultural exchanges began, and humanity took its place among the galaxy's powers. The Empire, its reputation shattered by the defeat, was forced to change. Other worlds began to resist, some revealing their own discovered technologies. The balance of power shifted as the predecessor's plan unfolded across the galaxy. Dr. Reed spent his final years decoding more of the Mars facility's archives. The predecessors had left messages for whoever would find their legacy, warnings about power, responsibility, and the importance of standing against tyranny. They chose well, he wrote in his memoirs. They left their most powerful weapons not to the strongest or most advanced species, but to those who would use them wisely. Humanity proved itself worthy of their trust. The galaxy would never be the same. The day Earth issued its warning became known as the beginning of a new era, one where no single power could dominate through force alone. And in the deep silence of space, other ruins waited to be found, other civilizations prepared to rise, all part of a plan set in motion millennia ago by those who had first dared to stand against the Empire. Earth had taken its first step into a larger universe, not as a conquered world, but as a guardian of freedom among the stars.